Hey all, and welcome back to Sonic Chronicles, the Dark Brotherhood. Well, how about this for a twist, then? Not only did Eggman survive the scuffle with Sonic & Co. at the beginning of the game, but he's also claiming to have turned over a new leaf. I don't know about you, Richie, but something smells here, and it's not just the eggs and the man combined.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Eggman is pulling like trying to pull a Dr. Wily here, and as we all know, you can say you've turned over a new leaf as many times as you like. You can even work together with Sonic. I mean, he has done so in the past. See the end of Sonic Adventure 2.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure a few other occasions, but it's just like, mate, you're the villain of this story. There is no way in hell you are ever going to have turned over a new leaf. Also, Sonic Lost World, I just remembered that. That game is so forgettable that I forgot that was the twist of that game.
Oh yeah! Interesting.
Yeah. So it's just like, mate, not buying it for a second, but it does mean that we get to play as Dr. Eggman, which is always slightly fun in some way, shape or form.
Yeah.
Although I think we pretty much all do go back to Yoish!
Yosh!
That's basically why we ever want to play as Dr. Eggman, even though it's only in one game and it's never going to be seen again. But hey, these things happen.
Indeed. So, Flame, how did you take the twist, mate? Obviously, this came out in like an era when, maybe it's a bit naive to say, but spoilers weren't as prevalent. Online, maybe? I don't know. I honestly can't remember that period of the internet. It was roughly around the time HFC started, but for the life of me, all of those memories are gone now. So, what was your take, mate?
Well, given I'd never really looked too far into the story of this until I played it like a few weeks ago, like I sort of just took this at surface level, you know, like it is what it is. Eggman's gonna play the whole being allies with our group and whatnot, like I kind of figured that it's going to be bullshit,
yeah.
But you know.
Well, Eggman is as Eggman does, and we got another predicament in the form of the floating island, Angel Island, being pulled towards Metropolis, or whatever they call it in this game. I think it is just Metropolis. And the Marauders taking over Eggman's things. He doesn't like that, so he's just going to literally throw a wrench into the works, as it were. And he's also got some other cool group hitting attacks. Like, I think, is Bombardment one of them, Flame?
Yes, Bombardment is going to be a really useful attack, particularly in the next chapter after this one, when I start actually using Eggman properly and whatnot.
Good stuff, good stuff. I will say, the first 3 chapters of the game are a bit... They're crap, I'm going to be honest, they're crap.
Yeah.
It's a really boring start to the game, and I get it, they want to build stuff up, and I will say, this is not a problem in the Professor Layton games where everything is, like, signposted and chaptered, but when you have a game like this that's only, like, 10 chapters long, maybe less, having the first 3 equate to just, like, being the prologue is a bit much, I think. I feel they could have, like, chopped off at least 1 and gotten the story going with Eggman a bit faster.
Yeah, maybe, but like I said this like in an earlier part, but I actually find this game's pacing to be kind of okay. Like, granted, I did a lot of the side missions, which I imagine a lot of people playing the game will just run past. Like, no one's really that desperate to go find big frogs and all that shit.
Yeah, true.
But like, to me, I kind of went out my way to do that just to get more of a feel for the game, but I don't really see it as that much of a front end block, really.
Fair enough.
Like, there are more offensive games when it comes to filler at the start. Sun and Moon.
I mean, I say that sort of, from what I remember, and obviously it was a very long time since I last played Chronicles, so I might be slightly just merging.
We'll
bits and
correct
bobs in
you
my
if
head
you're
here.
wrong, don't worry.
Is that I don't remember this kind of start being too horrendous. It's sort of once we get past a particular moment in time where the game does feel like it drags between that moment and sort of the final world, and I think it's because a lot of the enemies that you come across are just really tedious, and so everything just feels like it goes on for so much longer. And while there's some interesting design elements that are going on in those sort of moments, they're all, from what I remember, quite kind of dark and grey and not very fun. So, yeah.
I do kind of get the vibe of what you go into us, because there are a lot more wild encounters as we go forward. This is just me showing off that I finally got fucking Ferox after about an hour of save scumming for him. So yeah, I'm putting him straight on cream, and I'm never switching him off.
Bless him, bless him. I gotta say, the Eggman and Tails dual attack sabotage is gonna be amazing once we actually get to Robotropolis / Metropolis / whatever. 90% chance to instantly kill all robots. That's amazing, especially because there's some big friggers over there.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I may correct you, that must be an amazing attack if you actually use it.
Alright, dodgy shadow guy here. What is this place? Is it based on an existing zone, Flame?
This is called Blue Ridge Zone. This little town area at the start of it, there's certain characters who will refer to it as Station Square. And unless they majorly downsized after rebuilding it after Adventure, this is not Station Square.
Yeah, definitely not. Also, I don't remember. Says the guy who's never actually played Sonic Adventure 1. I don't remember Station Square being in the middle of a mountainous region. I remember that actually being in, the city centre.
It's funny you mention that, actually, because in the Archie adaptation of Sonic Adventure, Station Square was, inside the crater of a mountain or something, and,
what?
Underground. It was a hidden city, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Right, okay. Sonic's weird, isn't it?
Just now realising that after all these years, Reg.
I mean, I can deal with the talking, running quickly blue hedgehog, but underground cities and all that jazz, nah, that's where I draw the line, clearly.
Okay, I do want to draw attention to the fact that I bought a few different items there. I got a few more of the amulet things, which are the ones that just pick your character straight back up in battle once per battle if they get knocked out, which is useful. I already had a few, but this is just for the sake of my own convenience, so I don't have to keep moving them when I switch my team around.
Hey,
I also bought a newspaper in that shop there, which will come in handy for a mission we'll do in the next part. So just bear that in mind that I bought that there.
Oh, why are you doing side quests? No, Flame, no!
Because I want to. Plus, it's a bit of character for these different areas. This guy is in charge of the power grid, and I think he left something running that might make it blow up or some shit like that. Because, good at his job and whatnot. So, yep, Sonic's got to unfuck it.
I've pulled up the Station Square article for the pre-Super Genesis wave version of the thing, which was the reboot beam or whatever. It is a city-state of the United Federation and was thought to have been the last populated human city on Mobius. It is located on the continent of Salmerica, near the Mystic Ruins and Pies Mysterio, or whatever. Station Square's technological levels are on par with Dr. Eggman's, making it as much a target as Nut Hole or New Mobotropolis. It originally featured an artificial environment, which came to be powered by 2 Super Emeralds. However, following the Chaos incident and the Zorda attack, which are also aliens, the city has been exposed to the outside world and forced to find alternative sources of power. Yeah, it's literally beneath Salmerica.
Okay, that sounds like the entire thing was an arse pull, given from SA1 we know it's just a regular fucking city, but yeah.
Well, I'm not done yet. The mayor is actually known as Mayor Bugliani.
What?
Okay.
Well, there was Giuliani. Wasn't he a mayor of New York or whatever?
I don't know. Is this a human or is this a furry anthro character?
This is a human. This is a human.
Well, the only Giuliani that I am aware of is Rudy Giuliani,
That's him, yeah.
who is currently Donald Trump's lawyer, from what I remember, which is yay, that's a thing.
So, moving from Trump to Shadow the Hedgehog, the most base of comparisons I think you'll find. Is this any different to the previous fight with him, Flame?
He might have more HP, but I'm using the same keep wailing on him strategy, so...
okay.
Your mileage may vary there.
Just keep tapping the A button, you'll get through eventually.
If only that worked, you have to keep tapping the screen, which is arguably much more work.
Oh yeah, I forgot, it's completely touch-based.
Yeah, like everything is touch-based or the right button, which makes holding the 3DS for extended periods of time quite uncomfortable, I've got to say.
Yeah, it's that whole sort of claw hold that you've got to do. Isn't that sort of... I seem to recall, was it the Metroid game, like the Metroid Prime game that was on the DS or something that kind of introduced the claw, and then I'm pretty sure that Kid Icarus Uprising also did make use of the claw, and it's not the most comfortable way of playing on the 3DS, but at least it's functional.
Oh, you're referring to Metroid Prime Hunters.
That's the one, yes.
Like, I've never played the game, but I suppose at least Kid Icarus came with a fucking stand for it, didn't it?
It did, yes. Not that I think many people really used it, and to be honest, I didn't find it too painful to play. Also, I really liked Kid Icarus Uprising. Please, can I get a sequel in some form or other? That would be great.
Well, I'm happy you said a sequel and not like remake or port, because Sakurai has said recently he doesn't think it's possible to port it to the Switch.
Well, to be honest, I think you'd struggle as well, because the way the gameplay worked on the 3DS, it required the two screens, so going to, one screen, a little bit difficult. I'm sure it'd be possible to do in some way, shape or form, but it would mean fundamentally changing how the game worked, and that's a lot of work for anybody, and I think Sakurai's done more than enough with Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I think he deserves a good old rest right now.
No, not until Banjo is in. Banjo for Smash.
Oh god, it's fine. I'm sure Yuka and Laylee will be playable at the same time.
I would do something drastic. It wouldn't hurt me or anyone else related to me or not affiliated with me, but it would be drastic, I tell you what.
The most drastic of Twitter whining. Gotcha.
Exactly. Oh, you know me so well.
Yeah.
Run, Sonic. You're the only one fast enough to catch him. Eggman's going to get a snack, apparently.
It's funny because that's literally the plot here. So yeah, now we get a one-on-one fight, and also you're not seeing it here because of how I've recorded it, but one thing I think is kind of fascinating about how this game is programmed is that these one-on-one fights, for which there's like about 3 or 4 in the whole game, are the only times this game runs at 60 FPS.
Wow.
Like literally, if there's more than 2 models on the screen, it drops it to 30, and then anything else just eats away at it even more.
I'll give it this, like, it does have a lot going on visually, even if the attacks aren't super impressive or anything. Like, there's obviously a lot of polygons being pushed here. This is a DS ROM, not a 3DS, so in that regard it's more impressive than we perhaps have been giving it credit for. That counter is still annoying as fuck, by the way. But I don't think the new BioWare team had enough time to optimize it. This seems like something that just needed to be shoved out the door.
Yeah, well that is the vibe you get from a lot of the game. Like we talked about this when we were talking about how there's certain parts where you can lock yourself in a loop, and that it does feel very much a case of like the game was done but not checked, not optimized, not tested. And when you get to these little quirks and little technical flaws and that's kind of the vibe you get from it, really.
No.
Yeah.
Just taking precautions here, are you, Flame?
Well, yeah, because I never know when he's going to use the fucking counter, which could one-hit kill me if I haven't healed.
Very true, very true. Well, I can't believe Shadow's dead. God.
He'll be back. He's always fine.
You've been practicing. That didn't hurt me at all. Amy, you're not involved in this. Go away.
Well, she's been fucking nosy. Don't blame her.
Fair dues, fair dues. So, Shadow's looking for a Omega, I suppose.
Yeah, which is going to be like a little side questy thing going through the game. You can miss him, but I want to show everything off, so we will see Omega later on in the playthrough.
I'm going to assume that you will be getting Shadow on the team, because he is actually very useful.
He is, yeah. He has some really powerful attacks, and throughout the game, him and Sonic are going to be my main attackers. Mm-hmm. And naturally, with Cream having the OP channel now, like they can just spam their axe kick and chaos spear, and I can just keep doing that every turn, and I've won the game at this point. Or the exceptions of certain areas where you can't use them, but we'll see them in the next chapter.
Oh yeah, those arbitrary RPG moments where you regret not leveling your party equally, because oh my god does it bite you in the ass when it's like, strong man, go with weak person. And it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, the only way this could be worse is if all the weak members were on one team. Oh no, they are!
Well, no, to be fair, the game does bear that in mind in that although it doesn't instantly redeem the experience, they do all collect experience, and the first time you bring a character into your team after they've not been battling for a while, it does level them up so they receive the same amount of experience that they would have got if they were in the battles. Which kind of makes switching your team around a little bit redundant, but like I suppose it's just so you don't get to those points and then you're locked out because you've got 4 weak guys up against a boss that's the level it expects you to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's sort of one of the things that like Pokemon has improved at over the years in terms of how, like, obviously it's worked with its EXP share. And oh my god, these enemies are awful from what I remember.
Absolute units is what they are.
Yeah, because obviously initially the EXP share you just could attach to one Pokemon and it just sort of leveled that one up along with the one that was battling, and that was great and that was useful and people definitely used it, but obviously you could end up in a situation where you've caught a Pokemon and it's severely underleveled to everything else, but that's what you want to use and it's difficult to get it up to the same level as everybody else. But then obviously as you got further in, they did so the EXP share just spread across all the Pokemon in your team, and that just made the process so much simpler and just a lot more bearable, and that's something I like. But yeah, whenever you have that split off your party, I'm just like, no, don't do this to me.
I guess while we're on the subject, Flame, how do you feel about the use of EXP share in like more modern RPGs? Do you think it makes the game easier, or do you feel it cuts the artificial difficulty, i.e. the tedium, in half and it makes it a good thing to have?
Well, I am a scrub casual, so anything that makes the game easy is good by me. But in terms of like just progression or whatnot, I do appreciate it because like grinding up characters, that's not as much a skill thing as it is just time consuming.
Yeah, exactly.
So you still have to bear in mind like the strategy side of things as to like what characters are strong against other characters, what characters can use certain moves that might come in handy for certain situations. So it's not like a just win the game for you button. You still do have to use your brain a bit, so it's not completely broken.
No.
I think with Pokemon, the reason why it had a bit of backlash is that as much as I love Gen 6, as much as like that's my favourite generation, it was not balanced with the XP share in mind. You can just play through the game and you'll be like 10 levels above any other Pokemon at pretty much any given moment. I think it was like wrongly attributed like what the problem with X and Y was as the XP share, rather than just the fact that the enemies were made too weak for where you are in the game.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, it's not quite the same, but it is sort of what Gen 2 did in a way, because that game, everything did feel rather underleveled, shall we say. I mean, the fact that your first gym you were talking about, was it a level 11 Pidgeotto? In comparison to like Brock's level 14 Onyx, it's quite a difference.
Well, Gen 2 was a different kettle of fish in that it was designed around those low levels to lead up into Kanto and so on, but we're getting completely off the topic here. Explain to us the thing about the Chonk over here, mate. Chonk.exe.
Well, he is a big fucker. I don't recall if he has anything. Oh yeah, he has got the armour that you need to break. That's why them attacks are only doing 1 hit point each.
Okay.
I'm following on my strategy of getting the little guys out of the way first, which is usually the best way in a lot of these situations, because then you can just kind of not have them giving you constant chip damage while you're trying to wear away at the bigger threat. Right. At least that's my logic. I might be talking out my arse here, but it works for me, so I'll roll with it. But yeah, you got characters like Knuckles, he's got his uppercut attack, and Shadow has the chaos attacks, which can break the armour, which is a good thing to do early on, because then you can kind of get some bigger lumps off them health-wise.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't just try and like piddle away at their health doing 1 each turn, because again, that's not challenging, it's just tedious, and you got to realise there is a difference when it comes to scaling difficulty.
Yeah.
I have seen some, admittedly, somewhat disingenuous criticisms of certain games where someone was like playing Final Fantasy 15 and talking about how the battle system is kind of a joke, which admittedly, you know, it is very casual and you can just like keep wailing on things. But one of their examples was like you can fight this super boss with unleveled up characters, and then they did a time lapse of them taking 2 hours to beat the fucking boss. Like,
wow.
No,
Yeah,
like that's not how that works. The idea is that you level your characters up so you can actually have a proper fighting chance properly.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
You know, rather than just, well, you know, the battle system's pathetic because you can beat it with, like, level whatever characters. And, like, that's clearly not the way it's intended for you to fight it. That's just you going against the game's intended, like, mannerisms.
Yeah, and also, I mean, that opens up the whole thing of, if you look at, say, like Kingdom Hearts, as of late, I mean, I can't remember exactly when it started, but a lot of people started doing, like, level 1 critical runs.
Yeah.
And nobody, I think, has really criticised the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts for being too easy. It's just sort of, if you are able to do those fights at level 1, then it's more a thing of your skill level as a player than the game being easy. And I'd say that that follows through to Final Fantasy 15 as well, because I wouldn't say that it's sort of necessarily the most in-depth of battle systems. It might have gotten better than when I played it at launch, but
I think Flame is trying to usher you into a full stop here, Megs. We actually need to comment on this. Is this not the gun commander?
I'm not sure if it's meant to be him or just like one of his buddies that they use the same fucking art for. But yeah, this is the like escort mission that you need to get him back to safety. And I think this mission. Yeah, look, you got him as an item. You just stuffed him in your bag.
I was not expecting that. Oh, that's made my day.
Yeah, it's fucking great. This little blocked off area, that's where a puzzle later on in this chapter's gonna be, so just hold your horses with that one.
Oh my god,
there.
that fucking thing came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's one thing that, when Rich was talking about pacing earlier, I was kind of thinking that there are more overworld enemies as you get later into the game, and while you don't have to fight them, it makes the game have this illusion of being slower than it is, because like even if you're not fighting them, you still have to do that little runaway minigame, so it takes what on paper looks like a very basic, okay, go from point A to point B kind of story mission, into fight this guy, run away from this guy, dodge this guy, and so it makes what should be a very simple mission into busy work.
Yeah, definitely.
I suppose, like, I think I probably did, like, shoot down you guys moaning about pacing earlier, but like that, when in practice, I do kind of get that side of pacing issues.
Yeah, I think really from what I distinctly remember, it was more that gameplay enemy side of the pacing that was mostly out of whack. And that sort of does go into the whole thing of generally how long battles feel like they take. Because obviously it's all, whenever you're using the power moves, you've got that slight kind of pause before they actually go into it. You've got sort of the whole tapping animation, so each attack tends to last a while. So when you are then thrown into a whole number of enemies that you're not necessarily expecting to come up against, that you have to kind of then either dodge or run away from or whatever, it then just make it feel like it drags far more than it perhaps actually is in practice.
Now, I've got to draw attention to this here. Like, we spoke to this guy's father earlier who said that his little boy Timmy had fallen down the well. This is Timmy.
Oh, God almighty. Alright, we have a fucking neat who accidentally fell down the well. We entered said well as if we were walking through a door, and I guess it's just his job to be down here, so...
Yeah, pretty much. He's got an overly paranoid father who's worried about little Timmy O'Toole falling down the well.
Jesus Christ. All the way down! Sorry.
You can't not really. We got him as an item as well. How many people have we got in this fucking rucksack we're carrying around?
Is this going to be a running trend? Like, we're just going to get characters in our bag of holding from now on?
Maybe, like, this could be like a thing, you know, if like Shadow's got little Pokeballs for him or something to carry around here. I don't fucking know.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like this part is doing a bit of a sweep of Blue Ridge Zone, then we'll be making like actual progress in the next one, which is why this is the longer part and the next one's like 10 minutes.
Alright, fair dues, mate, fair dues. Just to fill up the rest of the time, do you happen to know what the music is a reference to? Is it a cover of something, or is it an original composition?
This song, and I'm surprised I didn't think to bring this up earlier actually, because it's probably my favourite overworld theme in the game.
Wow.
This is a remix of the Saturn version of Diamond Dust from Sonic 3D Flicky's Island.
Okay.
And if I'm gonna make a nuclear hot take here, I prefer this arrangement. Like, I'm not saying that just to fuck with people. Like, I was never that big on the Flicky's Island Saturn arrangement of Diamond Dust, because I find that for what's quite a strong melody is buried underneath a load of generic Christmas tat. So you got like all the Christmas bells and that drowning out what is otherwise quite a charming little melody here. This, granted the instrumentation isn't great, I can still hum along to this and enjoy it. And that's more than I can say for the Flicky's Island version.
Wow. Strong takes indeed. Passionate, raw, even. I much prefer the Genesis version of the Flicky's Island soundtrack. Here's this guy.
This was what the mission was, just walk back to Station Square and, that's him done. Because I suppose this kind of government official needs a fucking bodyguard to walk past, some lizard things or whatever.
I love snarky Sonic, it's great.
That is one of my favourite things about the options in this game. Granted the options mean fuck all in the grand scheme of things, but at least you can be a bit of a dick to everyone around you.
Hey, it makes all the difference. Flame, it makes all the difference.
It really does, yeah. Yeah, so we're just letting him know that we didn't blow up the whole area.
Oh, thank you, Sonic Jesus. Who's the god in the Sonic universe? Is it just God?
I don't know. For all we know, there could be one of these furry characters who sees over everything. I suppose we did get Chaos as a god of destruction kind of thing in Adventure, so maybe there's multiple different theologies around. I don't know.
Oh no, we do know who the gods are. It's Chip and Dark Gaia, because they are obviously the gods beneath the earth that kind of created the earth or something. I'm not quite sure what the mythos is exactly there, but they're kind of, I would say, the most powerful beings that we know of in the Sonic universe.
Well, at least in the Unleashed continuity, which has been contradicted a lot of times now. Don't try and make a timeline of Sonic games. Generations gets away with it because the whole, timeline is so much of a hodgepodge. You can kind of just fudge it together when a villain with time controlling powers comes along and messes with said timeline. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Generations does just pull from basically fucking everything, even to timelines that technically shouldn't exist, like the 06 one or whatnot. Unless they've gone back in time and just classic Sonics from before it was wiped, so it had not happened yet, or something like that. I don't fucking know.
Well, I'm just going to slide this in here. That technically 06 had to happen for 06 not to happen, and that's how it works.
Yeah, alternate timelines, The main one was fixed. There's branches and stuff. You can't exactly destroy matter, as it were, if my very rudimentary level of science will lead me to believe. It can just be, rearrange.
Yeah, there can be these different weird clusterfuck of timelines, and because we don't have the amount of energy it would take in our universe to test it, we have to just kind of pick whichever theory appeals to us most, I guess.
Yeah, possible. And if I was wrong about matter, hey, write in and leave a comment, I suppose. Alright guys, we'll see you next time for the second half of this chapter. But we put people in an order first. There we go. Spick and span. See you next time.